Welcome back to another Redstone tutorial. Today we're taking on the 2-wide flower farm that auto flushes all the stuff down into your storage system for you. As you can see, we've got it back there, and so we're going to jump right in and see how easy these are to make. Let's go. Okay, and to get us started, I created a 14 wide by 8 deep block box. Now this is going to look unique, but all it really is to help us see where we're going to need to put blocks. So you can take a screenshot of this if you want, but it's really just going to help you be able to see where I'm going to place some of these. So the way we're going to start is from the bottom and work our way up. So with this first layer, what we're going to install is some target blocks here. Now you can do this other ways, but I found this is the easiest way to do it. So putting 5 target blocks there, we're going to do 5 along here. We're going to put our pistons on top of that. So running those across here. And come to the other side, put them here. Now the reason we use target blocks is when we're going to put this redstone dust along here, you'll notice that it goes straight into the block. If we tried to do it another way, we might need a comparator or a repeater every other one and then run another line. So this is really just going to make it a little bit easier. So we're going to put redstone on that side. Run it down this way, bring 2 out from both sides. In this spot is where our dispenser is going to go. This is what's going to shoot up into the grass to give us those flowers. And you got to make sure you put them in the right way. Okay, now you should have something that roughly looks like this. Now, one thing I want to put in here before we forget is just a repeater pointing into that. With redstone here. You're going to see what in a minute goes right here to help make these trigger, but that is our base setup there. Now before we get too far along, I do want to get out some hoppers here. And with the hoppers, we're going to stick one out both sides. Now you can run this a few different ways, but we're actually going to be putting some components back here. So we're going to run this over 2, and then for now we'll at least go back 3. We might change that here in a minute. We're going to do the opposite on this side. So over 2 this way and then back 3. So you should at this point have something that roughly looks like this. Okay, and with that setup, we need a way of triggering these to turn them on and off. So what we're going to do is actually build an etho hopper clock. So these are pretty standard. If you haven't seen them before, we're going to come off of this an extra block, do the same over here, get our sticky pistons out. See if we can hit the edge of that redstone. Do the same here. We're going to put in a redstone block, put an extra block on each side, a comparator facing into each of those blocks. We're going to take a hopper, and you need to make sure these hoppers are facing each other. If you want a slower tutorial, go look on my channel. There's one of these, but you stick one of those in pretty quick, put another sticky piston here, and we're actually going to use a different kind of clock, which is going to be an observer clock. So when you face 2 observers into each other, it automatically puts a pulse there. Well, we don't want that always on, so we're going to make this come back, and then I'm going to actually stick a lever on top of here. This is how we're going to turn this farm on and off. And then inside of here, we're going to do 16 of these blocks. So let's break these down, put 16 in. You can see that activates the clock, and it's going to automatically start running. And so as you can see, that'll turn it on. Maybe that got a little loud, so I'll back up for a minute, which will make the dispensers go off and those go off. So this is basically going to be our timing. And the nice thing with this is we can turn this off, and when it comes back over, it's actually going to lock it. So now it's not going to run again. This one will drain all the way down, and it didn't turn on. So there's our on-off switch. And this is basically all the redstone you're going to need underneath it. Next, we're going to actually build up the actual platform where the flowers are going to grow and everything to kind of contain it. And now we're ready to put in the grass. So I'm going to put a grass above the dispenser. We're going to come out 2 from that in all the directions. And then same for over here. So we're going to come out 2. These should connect. 2 on that side, 2 on this side, and 2 on that side. Now this is really showing us how far that dispenser can shoot bone meal. So now we just need to go through here, fill this all in, Pretty easy here. And you can also use this with crimson and warped nylium blocks to be able to do nether products. Now, to actually get this to go, you can see we have a gap on this side and on that side. So what I'm going to do is just add one extra row of grass in there. Now, if we turn this on, it should be moving this grass back and forth. Let's see if we did it right. Oh, perfect. You can see that's going to go. I'm going to turn this off for just a second. Back up, let it stop. And that's perfect. So we got our moving floor in here. Great. And next we're going to add a row of bricks all the way along here. This is going to be our flushing system. So basically, as water is let out, it pushes all this stuff over and auto collects it for us, so you don't have to run around and gather it all. So now that we've got that in, you can kind of build this up however you want. Now I'm just going to use some glass here, and the glass doesn't go on the hopper or on the pistons, it's going to go one over. And the reason we have to use glass is we want this to stay grass. If you put a normal block on top of it, the grass will actually die and turn into dirt. So we're going to put in the glass here on both sides. You can decide where you want to wrap glass or not wrap glass, but those are the ones you at least need. Now I'm also going to do a portion out here on the front, and this is where our water that will flush all of it into a hopper, wherever to pick it up. Okay, and coming around back, we're now going to put in where the water's going to shoot out. So we're going to make a little C-shaped pattern here. And the reason we want to do this is when water shoots out, we don't want it to be resting on the grass or it'll kill the grass. So we're going to take a dispenser. We're going to come in 3 blocks from that side, 3 blocks from this side, put a redstone dust across the top, and then we're going to take an observer, and this one can be a little tricky. We're going to have it look at that hopper. So you should have something like this. So what that's doing is this will observe here, and when there's a change in that, it will actually turn the water on and off for us. And so that is the basic setups. Now the next thing I'm going to do real quick is just make this front piece so you can see kind of how the gathering portion would work. Okay, and I just put an example in here real quick. You could do this however you want. I like to use water because I'm sending this to a storage system, but I put some gates in here, opened them up, put the water in, so as this water flushes them over here, they'll be pushed in here and out to the system. Now you could do this all sorts of different ways, so just keep that in mind. But this is essentially your farm. So the only thing that we need to do now is take a water bucket, stick it in here, take a water bucket and stick it in here. Now let's turn it on. So as you can see, the water went out at the same time this floor is moving, and that's actually a problem. That's something that we don't want to happen. So we're actually going to hurry and pull out this water. We're going to give that a second to go. It's going to suck the water back in. This water should be going out when the floor is not moving, like right now. So while that's there, we're going to hurry and stick these waters back in. And as you can see, this is going to flush it out. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. When the floor is not going, this is moving everything. And when it is moving, the water's in. Cool. Now we need to get the bone meal in. Okay, and to put the bone meal in here, you can do this a few different ways. For this example, I'm just going to put a barrel on top of each of these hoppers. Now you could pull these hoppers out even more and put a line of water, so maybe it auto feeds it in here. But we're not going to run this farm that much. So what you're going to do is put some of your bone meal in on both sides, and we're going to let this kind of push itself in there for just a second. But this is essentially all of it. And really what I've tried to do is design this farm so that nothing hangs outside. A lot of these farms you see that they're hanging out the side. There's a lot of extra, but this should be compact enough that you can fit them in a lot of places, but still get the double wide benefit here. All right, so now that that's fed, let's see if it works. The water clears, it gets really loud, but as you can see, it's popping all the different flowers. That's gonna wash it in for us. It's just out long just enough to make sure everything gets out. a new round happens, and we've got our double flower farm up and operational. So as you can see, there's a little bit of work, but if you just start from the bottom and work your way up, it's not too bad. And y'all, that is how easy this farm is. Now, tell me down in the comments, where in your world do you think you'll put one of these, and what kind of flowers are you going to go after? Are you going to go for all of them in a flower forest, or maybe a specific one like I'm going to do over in Craftworks? Definitely let me know down in the comments, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon.